Someone must have broken my heart, like really torn it apart in another life, in another life. Someone must have really like caused my heart to stop in another life, in another life. Otherwise, I don't know why I keep coming back to this, keep fighting all of it. Don't trust that there's love that could.
What is going on, squad? Welcome to another episode on the Woman Who Win podcast. I'm your host, Kirsten Mark, and today I'm going to be talking about my personal journey with alcohol. So previously I've done a podcast on alcohol and your fitness journey, basically how it can affect your gains. Can you drink alcohol and still get results, which varies from person to person. So if you guys are looking specific into how will alcohol affect my fitness journey, I did do a podcast on that. But today, I want to dive into my personal story with alcohol, okay? We're gonna go deep, and I'm gonna try and organize my thoughts, and I'm gonna take you guys on a little bit of a journey. So for those of you guys that are maybe just tuning in randomly, my name is Kirsten Mark. I am a mama, I am a wife, and I am a CEO of the Women Who Win, where we have over 1,500 fitness clients. I like to call it more of like a life coaching program, because we don't just do fitness, we don't just do nutrition, we really just try to cover all the ins and outs so that you can ultimately step into your power and live your absolute best life. Now, right now, where I'm at is a place that has taken me I guess it's taken me my entire life to get here, really. But it's really crazy for me to look back, and as I started to switch up how I approached life, I started to take my self-development seriously. Alcohol just stopped being something that was a big part of my life, and not many people will confront me to my face. If anybody has something to say about my journey with alcohol, they will anonymously message me. No one has the balls to message me to my face, but a lot of people have been like, I think it's so bad that all of a sudden now you're not promoting alcohol and you should be promoting balance and like blah 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 blah. Or it's like they're upset that I'm not actually 100% sober. I never claim to be sober. If anybody asks, I always say I have a glass of wine here and there. It's rare, and sometimes I go months without it, but people are like, whoa, like you can't do that. And it's almost like because people have tried doing things and it hasn't worked for them, they all of a sudden think that it's absolutely volatile for you to be doing something like having a glass of wine every few months, when in the past you really did struggle with alcohol. And I will say, you guys, that a lot of people should not fucking drink. It has absolutely no value to their life, and I could go my entire life without drinking, and I would be able to enjoy and experience life on a deep fucking level. And who knows, maybe one day I will be 120% completely sober, but as it stands right now, I do have a glass of wine here and there. I don't really have cocktails though. Sometimes it has to be a really fucking special occasion. I think I've had one cocktail in the last, I'm not good with time. Time doesn't exist in the land of curse. So I'm gonna give you guys a little bit of history on where my journey with alcohol started and kind of what's transpired over the last little part of my life. So we're gonna take it way back. We're gonna take it way back to when I was 14 years old, and the cool thing to do was drink alcohol. The cool thing to do was to take your parents' alcohol and to get absolutely sloshed. The first time that I ever drank, literally ever, the first sip of alcohol I ever had was at a bush party. And I like attention, and I feel like now I get the right attention. I like being the center of attention, but it's really cool because now I can gain attention through impact and saying things that can actually help people change their perspective, change their life, change their mindset, change the way that they approach life. But I felt like I always needed to be validated by my friends back in high school. And so if the cool thing was to drink, I would drink excessively, and I would be like, look at me, look what I'm doing. So the first time that I drank an entire Mickey to myself. That's pretty much the only thing I remember. Grabbing the bottle, drinking the whole thing at 14 years old, game over. I got, it still makes me just like, ugh. Gosh, okay. I don't remember anything. I just started dating this guy, puked all over him. I had to get taken down on a man-made stretcher made of wood that my friends carried me down on. My parents were called, the police came, and I woke up in the hospital like strapped to the bed. I was literally strapped to the hospital bed, and I remember being like, what the fuck? And my mom just like these like look, my dad, I don't even think I made eye contact with him, but my mom just like sheer disappointment, like, Kirsten fucking Martell. My last name was Martell back then. It's Mark now because I'm married to B. Mark Fit. And I was like in panic mode. I was screaming, I was yelling, I was confused. I was like, I don't know what happened. I got rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. And after that I was grounded. I was grounded for what felt like the entire summer. I'm pretty sure it was. My mom might argue, but I'm pretty sure it was the entire summer. And you would think that trip with alcohol would have taught me a lesson, but after about a week, I forgot about my horrific hospital wake up, and I was back to sneaking out when my parents were asleep. And from that moment, I built a negative relationship with alcohol. I knew that what I was doing was bad. I knew that if I told my parents, they would be upset with me. And so I almost viewed alcohol as this thing that I did excessively to change my state, to be super fucked up. And that's the way it was when I was in school. Like, that's what the kids were doing that I was hanging out with. They were excessively drinking, doing things like, and some of the things that happened at a young age, and maybe I actually just remembered something like that. I was like, what the fuck? Have you guys ever had that where you're like, a memory just comes back to you and you're like, holy fuck? There was some really scary things that took place when I was young and really fucking drunk. And this didn't end. This carried on through 14, through 15, through 16, where I found out I was pregnant with my daughter. And of course, that's like 9 months, no drinking. And after Haley was born, and I've got like, it's so crazy because it's such a long time ago. But I was still like, it was grad camp out. I was graduating. So I was 17 when I had my daughter, graduating, and like still in that party phase. And bless my mom, because she did watch Haley. And like, honestly, you guys, I feel like I used to be so worried about people judging me, because when I was 17 and I had my daughter, people did judge me. Like, I would go out to the bar and people would be like, where is your kid? Oh my God, Kirsten doesn't take care of her kid. All she does is go to the bar. And like, rightfully so if that's your opinion. But I think because I was already very insecure in who I was, every single thing people said to me affected me, because I actually felt those same things about myself. Now it's like, if you were like, oh my God, Kirsten, you go and do this and you leave Haley here, I'd be like, yeah, and she is literally the best kid, and I'm literally doing my absolute best to be the best mom that I possibly can. Okay? So back then, I didn't feel that way, and I constantly was using alcohol as a coping mechanism. If I was sad, if I was stressed, if I was happy, if any occasion, I would drink. And if it was Christmas, I would be getting blackout. If it was Thanksgiving, I would be getting blackout. There is multiple nights that I honestly couldn't even tell you a single thing that happened, because I was absolutely out of my mind. And that went on till about 26, 27. And don't freaking cap me on timelines, because quite literally, I'm just here. I'm just living. So I don't really like take time super serious. I don't take time super seriously, which drives some people fucking nuts. But I'm like, man, I just don't. So my relationship with alcohol was just like, oh man, like it just, if I was going to Mexico, I was going to Mexico to get like shit faced. Like, again, there was a hangover that I had. It was after Mexico that I was literally hallucinating, you guys. I would be up till 3, 4, 5 a.m. in the morning. I would sleep for a couple hours, and then I would get up and I would do it again. And we could chop this up to like, oh, the good old days, the younger days when I did this, but like it went on for far too long. And I think there's so many people that actually like party way past the, like, and I don't know that there's ever a phase where you should be wildly committed to getting blackout drunk. And that's my perspective now, and I don't want to push that on you, but that's the perspective that serves me. So we're talking, yeah, okay, 17, 18, 19, 20, but we're like 25, 26, and this shit is still happening. I am still over drinking. I am still getting blackout. This stuff is still happening, and there's so many memories and things that took place that just wouldn't have taken place if alcohol was not a factor. So I don't remember, oh my gosh, like what was it when I just did my first ever, oh my God. Yes, okay, so lots of nights we would be here for literally 48 hours straight, probably longer if I had to go off on all the horrific things that took place while drinking. I also want to stop here and just say that I accept almost like a radical responsibility for every situation that's taken place in my life. There's been things that have happened to me where I have been taken advantage of under the influence of alcohol, and I almost think that that's like, for me, and again, I'm speaking for Kirsten Mark, I'm not speaking for anyone else because this is my story and my perspective. For me, it's like, I know that I would have been strong enough to be like, fuck no, if I didn't consume alcohol. And so I have to accept radical responsibility for that, because there is a part that I played in that taking place. And I think that's a really big piece that a lot of people miss, you guys. They won't accept radical responsibility. They have the enemies in their head, and they live life with so much fucking hate in their heart. And that is like just not a fun way to live. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate anyone. There's people that I dislike on a deep fucking level, but I don't sit and stew on how to fucking, I hope those people are doing awful. I hope that they're failing. I hope that is like hate in your heart, and it does not serve you. So there was a time, and we're gonna just fast forward past hundreds of horrific drunk memories. There was a time when I just started dating Brian, and we went to this really high level mastermind event, and there was alcohol there, and I ended up just getting embarrassingly, oh my God, you are not that person anymore, Kirsten. You love that person, but you are not that person. I have to remind myself that, because these are like hard moments for me. And I ended up calling my ex, not like sexually or anything like that, but like which just absolutely. And anyways, it ended up in this like massive fight. And I woke up and like Brian wasn't there, and I was like in pure panic. And I was like, I am going to ruin my life. I'm gonna get emotional. I'm gonna ruin my fucking life. I'm gonna ruin my life. And like, yeah, like I was better than I was before. I'd made progress. I only blacked out like once every like 2 months instead of once every fucking weekend. But I was like, I'm going to ruin my life. And I can't even like, those moments, you guys, are like the most painful moments, because anyone can say anything to you. They can be like, this too shall pass. And you're like, shut up. It doesn't feel like it's gonna pass ever. It hurts right now. And like, where's this person that I love so much? They're gone because you fucking fucked up. Dude, you fucked up. So after that, me and Brian obviously worked on things, and like we've both done things. Like mine and Brian's relationship, you guys, like it has not been perfect, but he is like my absolute best friend in the entire world, and I fucking love him so much. So as much as we've been through like a lot of heartache, he's like my person, and I know that. So we're not perfect, but we're getting there now. We'll never be perfect. There's always progress to make. And so after that, I stopped drinking for like 100 days. I literally was taking apple cider vinegar bombs instead of drinking. I like the party atmosphere. Again, I'm like, I will dance on tables with a Red Bull. I don't need a shot of tequila to make my clothes, well, my clothes usually stay on, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't need that. Like, I'm a very high energy person. Period. And then of course, like after the 100 days, I started to like get back into casual drinking. And again, like I would be good for 3 or 4 months, and then a stupid situation would happen, a hangover would happen that I was like, oh, this is awful. I feel anxiety where you like literally are so hungover and so anxious. I don't know if any of you have experienced that, but it's not fun. It is not fun. And so the moments were a lot fewer than they once were. Like there was a time where getting blackout was an everyday occasion. Getting like, we're talking like, yes, weekends, but like if it was a holiday Monday, it didn't matter. Like I was getting blackout. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm like, this isn't like aligning anymore. But then it would still, like, randomly, I would have a night where I drank too much and I would just be absolutely miserable. And like, you guys, I was an emotional disaster, an emotional roller coaster. And since I have drastically cut alcohol out of my life, we're talking like 99% less alcohol than I've ever had. Guess who is the most emotionally regulated bitch you'll ever meet? Probably not me, but I'm damn near close. And I'm better than I ever have been. It played a huge toll in how I showed up. And so many people that aren't ready to separate themselves from alcohol refuse to think that their depression and their anxiety has anything to do with that. But I fucking beg to differ. I beg to differ. So Brian and I start fucking building, you guys. And again, there is still many moments and many times where him and I both would be like, oh man, we drank a little bit too much, but we were going to the gym and shit was different. This last January, so we're talking like 9-10 months ago, I had been like, at that moment I was like, I don't really even remember the last time I had a hangover. It was like, I was doing pretty good. I was drinking a lot though. Like if we went on vacation, I'd drink like 10 drinks in one day, but I wouldn't be hungover. I'd be totally fine. The next day I could still go to the gym. I was like slowly putting on weight. I was about 170 pounds. My eating wasn't awesome. Still going to the gym every day, still super active, but just like not feeling my best. And again, like drinking, but I wasn't getting those savage hangovers. And so I was like, I found balance. January 1st, what I thought was like the worst thing to ever possibly happen to me turned out to be the best thing that ever possibly happened to me. And if you're one of my clients, you know this story firsthand. So I guess December 31st, we had a New Year's party and we had a bartender and I don't remember after like 10 p.m., but he was pouring shots like in my mouth and by 11 p.m. or maybe even I made it till midnight. I think I made it till midnight. I don't know. I just like was incoherent. I threw up on myself and my daughter was there and I had to get one of Brian's friends had to carry me up the stairs. And I remember waking up and being like, I am literally like, how do I have a community with all these clients that trust me? Like I have a daughter who had to see me like that. And I was so mad at myself and I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. And I just felt so much like disgust in myself. And for 7 days after that day, I was so sick, I could barely show up for my team meetings. I didn't want to do anything. All I wanted to do was lay in bed and eat shitty food after I'd finished vomiting profusely for 7 days straight. And I remember sitting Haley down and I remember being like, I have to apologize to you because you should never, ever, ever have to see me like that. And it just felt like I was never gonna pull myself out of it. I was like, I can't come back from this, dude. I'm like, I cannot come back from this. How do I come back from this? But as I always do, and that's one thing that if you follow me, you know, I always come back. And when I come back fucking strong. I come back fucking fierce. And that moment, I don't know what came over me. And you don't need those moments, you guys. You don't need those moments where you're like, oh my God, I could not possibly feel worse to change. But that moment for me was like, I will never, ever be that person again. I lead by example. I do what I say. Alcohol does not have control over me. I will not have to sit my daughter down again and apologize ever for doing that again. And something just clicked. Something fucking clicked. And I started to slowly come back. And I was like, I'm taking my fucking fitness more seriously. I'm taking my diet more seriously. And I didn't drink for, I think it was 100 days. I didn't touch alcohol for 100 days. And I felt phenomenal. I felt amazing. I was like, I have never felt this good before. And truthfully, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to ever drink again. We ended up going to the Dominican, and on that trip, I told my coach, I was like, I'm really nervous. Like, I'm really nervous. Like, I'm doing so good at home. I'm nervous to go on this trip. And he's like, don't aim not to drink, but if you do drink, aim to have one. And bless his heart, because that small fucking statement just changed everything for me. I was like, I'm not going to beat myself up if I have one, but I'm also just going to like set the intention of not drinking. That trip was the trip that changed everything for trips to come, because on that trip, I literally had like 5 drinks the entire 3 weeks that we were gone. We're talking like I would have 10 to 15 to 20 drinks on vacations every single day. And I was like, wow, that wasn't so bad. And from there, it's been about 10 months. Like, I quite literally have not had a hangover. I have not had more than 2 drinks. I don't know if that's like very, 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 very small amount of alcohol. And although I'm not completely sober, I feel completely transformed. And I wanted to break this down because so many people ask me about it. And I think a lot of people judge me because, one, they either think like teach balance, and like I do have a glass of wine here and there, but I respect people. Like my friend, one of my best friends in the entire world, Cole De Silva, has been sober, I don't know for how many days, but it's over a fucking year, you guys. It's over a year. And I have so much respect for him, and he's still so much fun. Definitely would love to hang out with him on the weekends. And it's not like I judge him for making the choice not to drink, right? But like for me, there's so many people, and I'm sure he gets this too, that like judge me for drinking less. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, they don't care about your happiness. They want you to live a life that helps them validate theirs. Fuck that. There's some people that think I should be completely sober. There's some people that think that I should drink like in moderation. And I'm like, who are you to tell me how I'm supposed to live my life? And so my journey with alcohol has been a fucking journey. And I don't know. One thing I know is that hangovers are not a thing in the land of Kirsten Mark. I refuse to ever feel the way that I did January 1st again. I am a leader. I'm an example to my clients, to my friends, to my daughter. That is who I am. I lead by example. I am integral. I am healthy, and I embody the woman who win mentality. I don't fucking lose. I'm a winner. And in order for me to be a winner, I cannot be drinking excessive amounts of alcohol because I know what it does to me. And something shifted that fucking day, and I just have not ever been the same, and I never, ever, ever will be the same again. Fucking period.